Here we go. Here's the main event. There is a vignette. Raven and Shane Douglas. The build-up, including Shane cutting Raven's hair partially, which I didn't realise had happened, like a week or two beforehand. So there's going to be some backstage information on the whole hair versus hair thing that I don't know you'll know, which hopefully will surprise you. Raven says he isn't ashamed. He enjoyed it, you cutting his hair and beating him up, I guess. Shane doesn't run with scissors. Kiss your hair, then your career goodbye. Time to get your ass franchised. Raven. Scott Hudson is with Shane Douglas and Jim Mitchell. Now, we talked about Jim Mitchell in a completely different capacity a few weeks ago in NWA Sarwin. I can never say Sam Hain, but I would really want to. Did you watch the promo beforehand?
My promo or
no,
James's?
James Mitchell's. You don't really talk with the Scott Hudson one, but yes, Jim Mitchell.
Yes, Jim was. When they put us together, it seemed like it wouldn't work because I was known as a promo guy, and James, again, my character came from a different place. Like he wasn't like the acolyte type follower type of thing. But once I got to know James, like he and I hung out several times after the shows, and we just sit and talk. And I thought, okay, well, this maybe gives me some like fresh legs, gives me someplace different, like to push, and find new ground for that character. By that time had been, a huge part of my career. And let's face it, James is pretty amazing at promos. His whole look and that whole thing, just, I think to the average viewer, when you watch him deliver a promo, because of his the long black hair and the pointed eyebrows, and I mean, he looks like he's right out of a movie about Satan, right? It's he's so compelling on that microphone that's what sort of sucked me into it and agreed to, like, okay, let's go along with it. Let's see where it goes, because I thought it could have some fresh legs to my character.
Jim. He's another person, where we say, when you're Mount Rushmore and no one ever mentions someone. But as a manager, I really rate Jim. He had a great character in TNA, well, in ECW with the Sinister Minister, I guess. He had a great character from then on in, and was a great talker. And I think he just knew how to be a pure manager. And he's one of the last of that breed.
Yes, very much so. And what you're alluding to there is that manager, running that mouth and getting his stuff in during the match and, doing whatever he's going to do to the babyface, in this case, setting Raven up for these falls or whatever. It almost takes on a sort of religious undertone, right? Like, Raven's trying to exorcise himself of these demons in his life. And, here you got this guy bringing him right back to his doorstep. It was overt without being overt, if that makes sense. It was in your face. I mean, Scotty had by that time had talked publicly somewhat about his demons and the attempt to rid himself of those. And it was, again, one of those things, like a Piper thing where, he's talking about it and taking it up to the level. And then James would masterfully pull right up to that and lay some line down in the promo where you'd have to think about, like, why did you say that? And then dig it through. But I think James had the inauspiciousness of being probably a little bit too good at what he did. And I think that there was a tendency to, by that time, okay, like, let's start to downsize the managers and, push them aside. Where James was had come up in the business at the right time, and he's, watching all these amazing managers before him. And he knew exactly where to set himself up to be knocked down. And that's, from a manager standpoint, especially today, there's few managers that understand that. It's not just about getting there and choke the baby face and cheat and help your guy win. It's about ultimately setting yourself up to no matter what you're endeavoring to put the baby face through, you're going to end up putting yourself through it because the babyface is just that one step ahead at the right time. James was masterful at setting that kind of stuff up at a time when I think the business by and large was beginning to downsize those rules of the managers and take some of the shine off of them.